legions, when you got the affection, you find emotion in a magic world. In a mythic land, in a mythic space, in a mythic life, in a mythic night. You can be an eye, you can be an elf, you can be an orc, even a skeleton, a demon. And if you love mythic legions, you know my guest tonight. A guy with Italian origin like me, from Sicily, and his name is Bill Mancuso. Welcome to the show, Bill.
Hello, Mr. Allen.
How are you doing? And welcome to the show. I'm
Good.
very happy to have you because I almost got all members that work in the Horsemen studio in my show. So
very close. One missing guy.
One or I believe three. I miss Jim, Sherry, and the genius behind the Legions, Eric Treadaway.
Yeah.
Only these three. And after this, I got all this.
Pretty soon, you're going to start getting all the people that help us out with like shipping and
Exactly.
Everybody except those three.
But because the reason why is because I fall in love with this line because my first interview with CB, every time that I got a guest related with Mythic, I tell the same story. So if someone watched my show before, maybe start to see, oh, this guy start to become boring because like an old man tell the same story every time. Because when I did the first interview with CB, at that time, I know Mythic Legions, but just a little bit. And after that, I remember that after he told me how works the different scale of the character is something that I like so much. Because, for example, I'm a customizer too with my friend with WWF Hasbro figures. In this channel, I created a federation called WWF Hasbro Federation, a weekly show of stop motion series when I did the storyline and everything. And I create custom figure in Hasbro style for some brands that never had this type of figures, like Big John Studd, King Kong Bandits guys. And every time when I work with my friend as a sculptor, I say to him, remember, different scale, different size you can do. I want Big John Studd taller than Brady Menard, no? Because I like that. I don't like sometimes some toyland that you have the same size, maybe for different type of character. Sometimes happen that. Also in the Mattel WWE, sometimes they miss some mistakes speaking of size of the figures. But speaking of Mythic Legion, when I discovered this side of that, they start to something myself. And then after the conversation with CB, the first one, last year, I had a dream during during the morning, because I like a Dracula. I live in the night. I go to sleep at 7 a.m.
Sleep during the day, yeah.
Exactly. And I had a dream, I remember, was like a scenario, apocalyptic scenario with some earthquake, tornado, some stuff like that. It was my father in the dream, and he told me, hurry, your figures, because something goes down, everything. So it was the figure I had in the dream, a bunch of Mythic Legions. And then the afternoon later, like 4 p.m., when I wake up, I went immediately to the SuperShow.com and started watching the list, the list of every figures. And wow, at the time, I start something in my mind, because I'm a big fan of the fantasy. Lord of the Rings. I love HeroQuest. It's my favorite board game. I says, wow, this is for me. Dwarf, orcs, skeleton, this is for me. And then I start to create a project at big chess that I reveal a chessboard like over 5 feet wide. It's very big because it's you can play this chess also
Oh,
with
in scale.
in scale, exactly.
Oh, that's
So to use also the troll on the chessboard, you need a huge chessboard, no?
yeah,
And
he's large.
because of that, I start to create a stop motion series. So I fall in love with the line, and because of that, I start to meet the people, to become friend to the people that create this stuff. But also the people that love this stuff, like the many customizer and the Cabal, Walter, and other guys. So I start to put in my show, also because now it's my favorite line, Mythic Legions.
Understandable.
Yes, because of the details and this stuff. However, this is not Mr. Alan show. I talk only by myself
You're
about
not going to interview
myself
yourself?
exactly because I am a little bit narcissist, but I try to put away this stuff. And now it's time to talk about your story. And I decide to be a little bit random. I want to do back and forward in the past and the present of
Okay.
your career. So I want to start with the typical question when I have an artist in my show. How you discover your talent?
I wouldn't say it was discovered. It was just I've always the sculpting actually came later. It was always drawing. I was always from my first memories drawing. That's always what I've done. So it's not like something I realized later on that I wanted to do. It's just always been a part of me. The sculpting didn't actually happen until I was working at McFarland.
Okay, okay. So it's something that was inside of you also as a kid, I believe.
Yeah.
Because I drawing too as a kid. I remember I start to copy, especially the Filmation cartoon, and start to drawing because I was frustrated at the time. My Master of the Universe of Braystar figures were so different compared to the cartoon. So I start to
Mhm.
create something in cardboard and start. However, uh, I thought you did many different things in your career. And the first things that start in my mind was your work about the TV, the Saturday Night Live. Tell me something about this
Okay.
your your job with TV.
So there's a little bit of a lead up to that. The studio that the Four Horsemen used to be at in another town, the a big industrial building. The people who rented the studio next to them were a prop company. They did a lot of props for Broadway and off Broadway and stuff. Um, and they got to be friends, and they started, doing a few sculpting, little bit of props and molding and casting for this prop company. So over time, the relationship grew, and then the prop company, BB Props, they moved to another building where we are now, and asked the Four Horsemen if they'd like to come along with them, and they could actually rent a larger space in their new place, and that was a done deal. Of course, accepted that. So this was 6 or 7 years ago, and since then, both companies, Four Horsemen and BB Props, have just been growing. So when the pandemic hit, the theater stuff shut down because no one was going to be allowed to sit in a crowded theater with the pandemic going on. But fortunately, film and television kind of got their act together, and you figured out how they could shoot separately with people separated. So they started getting some film and television work, mostly TV, and one of those being Saturday Night Live. So I do a lot of molding and casting, and I'm a sculptor. So that kind of just lent to me doing a lot of stuff for BB Props. I'm helping them out doing not just Saturday Night Live, but other stuff too. So it's just been a very beneficial symbiotic relationship between the two companies.
Okay, if you hear some noise in the background because I have a dog, a little pug, and now is on the balcony and start to. I don't know what is the word to say is the noise they do a dog. What is the word
Barking?
exactly? But about nothing. There's nothing outside. I start to do that. I don't know why. I have a little pug. Is really nice. However, But I saw if you heard that. I saw also in your resume that you worked also with in a movie with Morgan Freeman.
That's one of the um, things that the BB Props have done is they have another building across the parking lot, and it's kind of a studio where they rent for the production of a film, where they can all the main office where you can do your production offices in. You keep the artists, the production designers, the accounting, and all that stuff. So their main place to work from is there. And while we're close to New York, so it's better than being right in the middle of the city. It's cheaper, but it's close by. So Zach Braff shot a film there last winter, October, November, December, around there. And so they needed some miniature sculptures done for it, and I did a bunch of those for the film, like for HO scale train set kind of sculptures. The film's not out yet. I have no idea when it's coming out, but they wrapped it in around Christmas time. So
you never visit the actually set of the movie, no?
No, they had some stuff set up at the office that I see, but no, I didn't go to see. I met Zach Braff. He came in and said hello to everybody in the studio, but that was really it. Like none of the actors didn't come by and hang out with us or anything.
For example, I was in the past many times on the set of the movie of my friend, Italian director Dario Argento. He's
Oh,
a director of horror movie,
oh yeah.
I'm a close friend with him because when I finish my studies, I believe, yes.
Mhm.
For the end of the study, I did a work to finish my study about the music, the soundtrack, and the movie of Dario. And we did a video together in Italian, obviously, because also as a job, in the past, I did some soundtrack by myself from some director. It was interesting about this side of his work.
Yeah,
So I was at the time many times in different set of different movie, and you discover that is a boring job a little bit.
it's a lot of waiting.
Retake, yes, waiting, retake many times the same
Uh-huh.
scene.
Yeah, a lot of repeating things over, a lot of waiting, sitting around waiting. Yeah, I love Dario Argento. I love Giallo films. I love that stuff.
Yes, he's a nice man also, in a really kind man, Dario.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yes, yes, because you watch this movie, maybe you don't understand, or you figure out it's difficult to figure out which people there is behind, no?
Yeah,
But
what's this guy like?
it's really a kind man. So you know him for a long time. I meet Dario for the first time in 2000, so 22 years ago.
Wow,
And then we became friends. A nice guy.
that's cool.
However, back to you, and back to before to start to talks about the main things, mythic legions, etc. I saw that you work with something related with one of my guests that was 3 times in my show. I talking about Zach Ott of Diamond Select Toys. Tell me something about your job with Diamond Select.
Oh yeah, Diamond. I worked for them for a bunch of years. The the main thing I did for them was a lot of the Star Trek 40th anniversary busts and statue collections. So there's like that scene where they're on Spock's planet and he had the Kirk and Spock fought and he thought he killed Kirk. There's that scene there that I sculpted a little diorama statue set for that. There was one that didn't come out was the Guardian of Forever, and Scotty and Uhura were standing there checking it out, and you could put lenticular photos inside of it but that wasn't produced. A lot of busts of all the captains. I also actually did a series of busts for Battlestar Galactica, the new one, and I don't know if they ever came out. I don't remember, But it was all like all those characters. They were pretty like large size busts too, and a bunch of Star Wars, Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark, whole bunch of stuff.
What is your first job in the toy industry?
That would be McFarlane Toys. I had gone to. I wanted to be a comic book artist, which again goes back to me always wanting to draw. So I went to Joe Kubert's School of Cartoon and Graphic Art. And when I got out of there, I started looking for a job as I was putting together a portfolio. And I went to this graphic design group who at the time I didn't know Todd McFarlane hired to do his toys. So I went in and I interviewed for them, and I got the job. So I was doing a lot of graphics for the sides of like video game cabinets. There's like I have one of my things I remember doing was drawing Fred Flintstone art on it for a video game, and that went into a Chuck E. Cheese chain restaurant. You know, a lot of pinball game stuff like Down the Shore. All these game graphics and stuff on the side of the cabinets. And the first thing when I started there, the prototypes for the first series of Spawn was already finished. So we had them all at the studio. And the first thing I did was there's a Tremor figure. He's a little orange and black guy with little horns, and his fist shoots out, and it's like a little robot tube. And I had drawn all the circuitry and computer stuff that's on that arm. That was the first thing I did. So the first thing I did in the toy sculpting world was draw a picture that goes on a sticker.
And you meet Eric and CB at the time on the McFarlane?
Mm-hmm. So when I started there, it was just the front office. That first line of figures was all sculpted by outside sculpting houses. And they were kind of just starting to build up their in-house sculpting. And Eric had been hired before I started there, but he was still off finishing college, I think. And then like a week or two later, he showed up. And so it was just the two of us in the office the whole time. And he was sculpting figures and I was drawing video game cabinet art. And then it started getting more and more busy toward the toys, and we would get more people coming in, helping out, freelancing. And then it just so happens Cornboy had moved to New Jersey to go to Joe Kubert's School of Cartoon and Graphic Art. And he heard from somebody that he knew about Spawn making toys there. So he interviewed, and then he started. And then Jim had always been with his partner also doing production stuff. And I think those guys made the first Spawn mobile. So eventually Jim started working for the company, Cornboy's working in it. So it's the four of us for the first few years working there. And then I left and went out freelance and moved to California and was working from there. And then those three guys were still there.
So you know them for a long time, so from many years ago.
Since the mid 1800s. Yes, yeah, that would be 94 was when we met.
Now, as I told you, there is a really random interview because I like to. It's an experimentation for this interview because in general, a typical interview starts with the beginning and go slowly to the present. I like to go back and forth with you tonight.
Keep me on my toes.
Exactly. So now, do you have right here the unknown figure?
I'm sorry?
Do you have the unknown?
Oh, do I have it?
Yes. A death.
I might. I do. You want me to show you that?
Yes, I want to talk with that now.
Okay.
So in the really, really present of you.
This is probably the most recent. Well, sort of. It's been around for a while, but it's just been recently revealed. So this is the Adaith. I don't know if you can see it.
It's really cool because I saw the reveal during the meeting conversation with Jeremy.
Ah, yeah.
So I decided to want to I want to talk with that, but tell me also because I'm a writer too, no? So I'm really curious about the storyline because I discover a good reaction about the bio of this character,
Yeah,
no?
I was surprised. There was a lot of people like that bio.
Exactly. Tell me how start the idea of this type of character.
Well, the main reason why I created this kind of a bio was I'm not familiar enough with the story, so I didn't know where to put him. Obviously, he looks like a bad guy, so you'd put him in one of the bad guy factions. But um, I thought it would be cooler if he was a mystery. People like mysteries too. I like a good mystery. So I thought I made him a lone character that was a mystery, and no one knew who he was or where he came from. So he doesn't have a faction. Um, he's just this thing that everyone is afraid of. You never know where he's going to come from. You don't know what his goals are. He's just showing up on battlefields. Um, so, as I also thought it would be good to not make it a specific character with a specific story, in case later on, as Eric develops the story, he can find a place for it in the story. So it's open, and then later on, maybe you can discover through the Eric's whatever they do with Mythic Legions. At some point, I hope it becomes a program of some sort, a comic book, a television show, an animated cartoon, something. So in developing that kind of thing, it's open. It's an open character. So maybe Eric can work it into a story at some future date. I left that option for him, or always keep it a mystery. It works either way. So I didn't want to tie it to anything specific and make it chain it to one thing.
I like that because it's unique also in a story and is unique as well because the Mythic Legion storyline is unique because there's not just black and white but different shadow of gray, and I
Mm.
like that. But this one is a really an outsider, this character. So
Mm-hmm.
it's bad, but you don't know what, which in which faction you can in which spot you can put this guy. I like that because it's something different and unique for this character. So I like this idea. And by the way, also, I think that if it's possible, imagine a series, a TV series, for example, for Netflix or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
for Mythic Legion should be perfect. Also because now I saw many fantasy series. So it's a good moment right now, in my opinion, for some sci-fi or fantasy because I saw that there are many productions that put out new series for this type of story.
Mm-hmm.
So anything is the reason why also one of the reason that the community of Mythic Legions become bigger and more popular also because it's the good moment in my opinion for this type of story,
Yeah.
also for cosmic for example. But also the fantasy and sci-fi are in a good moment. In my opinion, if you think about 30 years ago, 20 years ago, wasn't that at the time. The first things was maybe the Lord of the Rings saga.
Yeah. That became popular again when that came out. Yeah.
Exactly. So, because before was the fantasy was something like a little part of the show business. The speaking of storyline, no. And
Yeah. Yeah.
now there are many series about fantasy, many series sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
So if you watch the library on Netflix, because of the Mythic Legions, I'm in fantasy mode. So I try to watch something that could be related. Also because I work in my stop motion series. I'm working in a new project that is so far still a secret. but I need to watch many things also for the background,
Mm,
etc. So I watch and watch. And sometimes when I don't find something that is related, I rewatch many stuff. For example, the Hobbit series. I rewatch this series to watch the castle, the stairs, this stuff. Oh,
yeah.
but as usual, I'm a guy that talk of everything. But back to you on this character. I want to stay a little bit on this character again.
Okay.
Um, Speaking of the figure, so that's. Do you remember when you start? You create before the story and the character in your mind, and then you figure out how you can create a figure for this character, or was the vice versa before the figure and
Yeah.
then the story?
It was vice versa. We had our old studio was upstairs in the building where we're at now, and the as I said earlier, the props place is growing, and we had occupied an office upstairs, so they could kind of use it. So now we moved downstairs, and they're using it for more stuff upstairs. Molding and casting is in there now, and there's an electronics department and a crafts area, and the shipping department is in the offices in there. So they've utilized that space where we used to be. So we moved our offices downstairs, and it's an even bigger place. So as we're growing, it's a nice space for us to be in as well. But that happened as we were going to move downstairs. That happened just as the pandemic hit. So again, this is perfect. It's a pandemic creation, this character. So Chris and I were really the only two working out of the office because everybody was kind of going home in the beginning of the pandemic there. So we had brought everything downstairs, and it was all just in piles. Everything was just stacked up, all the shelves, all of our tables and their chair, everything was just stacked there. And then we were slowly going through all that and setting it all up. And we had, since the beginning of Mythic Legions, this big cardboard box that we had all extra parts in. And we just a big fodder bin of all the parts of all the characters. And so I decided whenever we needed stuff, we would just go rifling through this big thing, and it was a pain. We'd have to dump it out, sort through it, put it back. So I decided I was going to separate everything out into their parts and put them in bags so we could find. So I put the legs in a spot and the torsos, everything, and then zipped them up. So I spent a few hours doing that one night. And then I finished. And at that point, I was still in. As I was separating the parts, I discovered there was a lot of parts that could create full figures from the Mythic Legions line. So if anyone's been to our studio for any reason, any of the G-Cons or Legions or whatever, you'll see on one of the shelves in front of the window are all of these old figures from like the first series. And those are all figures I put together from that parts bin. And then when I finished that, I made all the figures I could out of it, and I put everything away. I was still in creation mode. So I was sitting in front of a box full of parts. So I just sat down and I was like, just kind of, that's a cool part. That's a cool part. And I just kind of put together this figure. And it turned out to be this one without the wings. But then, like, very shortly after that, we got a test shot of these wings that were in I think it was the Arathir line was the first time they showed up. So I stuck the wings on it and like, oh, now it's complete. But I wasn't allowed to paint the wings because it was the only set we had. So it was our only set of wings, and we didn't know what we would need it for. So I had to. So for a long time, he sat with just gray test shot wings on his back, and I showed it to Eric, and I said, "Hey, I want to post this. I was thinking of posting this in the Cabal." And he said, "Don't do that because I might have an idea for it. That was almost 2 years ago. So this figure was sitting on Chris's desk for 2 years and just collecting dust. And then finally, Eric figured out where to put it, and it's going to be the day one special figure for this year's Legions Con.
And that's really cool. Also, I think that also you deserve it also. When it's something that you created to in a special occasion, no, it's a special moment for the community. Also because is your child, this little monster.
Yeah, it's my baby.
Your
Oh, and
babies.
then Jeremy asked me, "What's his story?" So then I had to come up with a story. And of course, as I was putting it together, I had like a vague sense of, oh, he collects souls. Like I just kind of had a vague idea. But then Jeremy asked me what his story was for a bio. So I had to sit down and actually figure out what his story was. So about 2 years later came his backstory.
Interesting. So he wait this character wait 2 years to get a story and a real personality.
Yeah. So like if you notice, there's the wings are the newest part on him. Like all the rest of the parts are pretty much the first run of 1.0 figure parts. Like so it's because there were no other parts at this point. It was just him, just these parts. So,
But this is the magic of this line, in which you can create also your own character if you want.
yeah,
If you want.
new parts, old parts, you switch them up, paint them nice. You got a completely new character.
Yes, I discovered also one of the reasons why, because I think if you are an artist for whatever reason, I am an artist for other arts, no, writer especially, or music, or stop motion maker. You fall in love immediately with this line because it's a big push for the creativity.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when I got my first figure, my first ever figure in Mythic Legion was Kim Brondon.
Ah,
And as usual, you understand how good, how beautiful are these figures only when you have in your hands.
yeah.
Because when you get your hands, you can watch each details, the line on the skin also.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that blow my mind at the first time with Kim Brondon was the detail on the face, because it
Yeah.
was so realistic. I like this aspect of these figures; they are so realistic. And when I opened this box, I watched this figure. I thought, "Wow, this guy asked me to create a story." So I started to create my first part of my diorama was a throne room because he's a king.
King.
So because of that, so I want to do a long series of top motion for Mythic Legions, also related with the chess game, because the faction looks like white against black, but with different sub-faction. So this is just an example
Mm-hmm.
that this line pushed the creativity of the people. Is the reason why in the Cabal I discovered many artists that I had in my show in
Yeah.
the past, customizer, or people they create their story and their figures with Mystic Legions together. So um, it's interesting this line, especially if you're an artist, you understand the focus and the goal of this line, I think. But now to change immediately door of your career, um, you work also in the toy business as a sculptor. Tell me
Mm-hmm.
something about that.
Yes. When I left McFarlane Toys, I interviewed at Toy Biz, and then I started working for them. So a lot of the stuff that I did for Toy Biz was not so much figures. I have a few figures of Spider-Man, Cyclops here and there, but what I did was a lot of the accessories, a lot of the bases, the weapons, any other kind of weird contraption that came with figures. So when I hit my stride when the Marvel Legends series came out. So I did a large portion of the bases for those in the early years. So that was fun stuff. One of the bases I worked on, just seeing your mug there, was the Thor base. So the Thor came with this base with basically the bulk of the base was that mug. It looked like a giant skull in a helmet, and around it I had sculpted. It looked like a field where there was a shield, there was another helmet, there was swords and a hammer, and all of the stuff around that base I pulled from Conan the Barbarian movie. So all the weapons and stuff is like Thorgrim's hammer is on there. It's all peppered with Conan movie props.
What is the people, the man, the person, of the girl, of the guy? Because I try to explain better my question. I think for every artist there is especially one people that open your mind, or like a mentor, but not only a mentor, also could be a friend, someone that is really important and still important if you remember that for your career.
I guess it was to hone it down to the spark, right, would be Spider-Man comic books. And the artist at the time that I was reading it was John Romita and Ross Andrew in the 70s and 80s. So just the way they could draw these characters, and you could see the emotions in the faces that they would draw. And there was a thing that as a kid, I didn't understand how to do. And just seeing that, it was just like mind blowing. It's like how they're different characters and different expressions, and they all draw them different. Because whenever I drew things, they all look the same. You know, as a kid, you're drawing and all your characters all look the same. So you have to learn how to make different expressions, give people different little gadgets that make them look different from other characters. And then I guess a little bit later on would be like Frank Frazetta, of course, and then all that amazing Dungeons and Dragons artwork and a lot of album covers, like from Dio. Like I love that kind of stuff. So that's the kind of inspiration. The main thing would be the Spider-Man comic books at the very start, and then into that fantasy art, really. Just a lot of rock album covers.
As I told you before, the inspiration for this mag is Lenny of the J. Joe's brought in, because during my show with them, he has that start to me. I want this to me, this guy. And I know also you work also for Hasbro for J. Joe. Tell me something about that.
I did a couple of things for Hasbro. For the first movie, I did some of the 12-inch body parts and some weapons for that. I don't know if what came out or not. I don't, because I wasn't really collecting the 12-inch G.I. Joe stuff. I did the Snake Eyes body for that movie, the movie version, out of their 12-inch, and I did a head for Stalker. Again, I don't know if these ever came out, but I did a head for Stalker, and it was Carl Weathers was the head I used for Stalker. He was just as the model for the Stalker head. I give him a little mustache.
Cool. What is you did many different things in different situations for different company and different stuff. What is your favorite work that you did?
Again, back to the Star Trek for Diamond. That's my. I'm a Trekkie. I love Star Trek, so that was really fun to work on. But then I guess second would be, since we already talked about Star Trek, and I want to go back over that again. The second thing would be Muppets and Sesame Street for Palisades toys, which I love the Muppets. That's another thing that I grew up on.
I'm a fan of the Muppets show.
Yeah, that's again another thing. Grew up with watching it as a kid, every iteration of every film and TV show they did. Love it all. It's all awesome. So the chance to work on Muppets was fantastic, and I think the Palisades line was amazing, and what they did with play sets. Nobody did play sets anymore, not since the 80s when plastic was cheap. So they did these play sets. They did a kitchen play set. They did a lab play set. It's just amazing stuff, and that was fun to work on.
What is your favorite Muppets character?
It would either for the Muppets, it would be either Gonzo or Animal. Probably Gonzo, because Animal was crazy, but Gonzo was insane.
It's so really cool, the parody with the Muppets of the Bohemian Rhapsody of the Queen. Did you see that?
That's awesome. I love that. That's great. Yeah, the way they come in with it's perfect.
Sometimes it's better than the original because the Muppets are super fun.
Yeah.
I love the Muppets. My favorite maybe is, I believe the name is Ralph, the dog that play piano.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because his music. So, but I like that. I like the Muppets. Also because when I watched that as a kid, I was really young. But also because in Italy we got everything later.
Okay.
Everything comes later in Italy. Everything. Yeah. And also the Italian music, actually, the modern Italian music is really awful, and also is a typical bad copy of US UK music. So.
Okay.
Okay, horrible. But speaking of everything, the Muppets come later in Italy. However, was really curious too, because you watch the Muppets, you saw only the upper body of the character, no?
Oh yeah.
Because with the guy that play, they move the karate. And when he was a kid, I want to see what is the legs of everything underneath. No, I want to see underneath the secret. No,
yeah.
Because as a kid, to me, it looks like real. No, and so it was a lot of fun.
1 second, I actually that reminds me. I wear a lot of different T-shirts because here's my Lego T-shirt.
Lego Space Teacher.
For Muppet, I actually
Thanks for watching, my friends. There is some comments. I read the comments now. 1-6 shooter. Trevor, welcome. Trevor, still waiting. I have a message to Trevor. Still waiting to be in your show to talk about my Mythic Legion song.
You could be an orc, you can be an elf, even a skeleton.
Exactly.
But here's a T-shirt that I have that when I saw this, I had to have it because it's
super cool, this one.
It's Big Bird, and that's Big Bird's skeleton. That's what they look like on the inside.
Nice. I saw also something in your background with the lagoon monster.
Oh, this?
Yes.
It's a latex mask of the cast off the original sculpture that I think they found it later on, and then they cleaned it up and they made a mold and cast off the creature. Is my favorite Universal monster.
Yeah, I try to wonder what is my favorite Universal monster. Easy question.
Could it be Dracula?
Exactly.
Have you ever seen the Spanish version of Dracula?
No, I never see the Spanish version.
The Spanish version is so much better than the American version. Because
Really?
when they were filming the Dracula with Bela Lugosi, at night, the Spanish crew would come in and use the sets and film their version of it. And it's the story, it's longer. It's like a half an hour longer, and it's more involved. It's really cool. I love that version. So if you ever have a chance to see that, I think it was one of the DVD releases they had the Spanish version in there, and it's amazing.
My favorite Dracula ever, because I watched that as a kid, because when I was a little kid, my hero was Dracula. I remember I at that time was a promotion, a commercial of a TV, or a TV, actually TV, uh, a television, no?
Mhm.
The commercial what was with a Dracula in the commercial spot. I saw on the road the poster, not that. And I asked my father as a kid, please give me that poster. I want that poster, please. And my father, in the night, with the cutter, got the poster from the road. And I got the poster. I slept as a kid for many years with the poster of Dracula in my wall, in my bedroom.
That's
So,
great.
however, my favorite Dracula movie was Christopher Lee, the
Yeah,
Hammer movie, Terence Fisher movie. I'm a
yeah.
big fan of Terence Fisher. Also, Frankenstein, other movie that he
Mhm.
did, The Mummy. I love the atmosphere of this Hammer movie, and the two movie of Dracula by Terence Fisher, really cool with Christopher Lee.
Yeah, those Hammer films are fantastic.
Also romantic because of the atmosphere,
Yeah,
the location, the interior of the house. No,
yeah, yeah.
so I like that. Really cool. But now we change page again. And do you remember the first time that you start to work with the Horsemen Studio?
Well, I mean, always. I was, of course, when we were at McFarlane, I worked with them, and then when I went freelance, actually, so when they were there at McFarlane for about 3 years after I was gone, and then of course they started Four Horsemen Studios. So kind of very shortly after that, uh, they would give me work because they had a lot of uh, they're actually very busy, and then I would do stuff for them. So I mean, they knew me, so it kind of was a natural fit.
So you looks like one of the a part of the studio, like the wall of the floor, because you are still
Yeah,
like in the beginning. So
yeah, yeah. So and it was easy because it's easier now because it's digital. We can just email our work back and forth. But then I could ship. We could ship our stuff anywhere, so it was fun. And I was living in California at the time because I had moved shortly after I left McFarlane. Um, but so a lot of times, what would happen would be Eric would sculpt a half a figure, like he would rough out a figure and finish half of it and do like either an arm and a leg, half of a head, and then because he was so busy, would send me that half sculpted piece, and I would finish up the second half while he's starting another figure or 10 more figures.
so
So
that means there is a good chemistry between you and Eric to do that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we started together at McFarlane, kind of have the same, very similar sensibilities, and I matching the figure is something I can do. I can copy, so it worked out great.
Did you ever meet at the time when you worked in the McFarlane Toys, Todd McFarlane?
Yeah, yeah. He didn't come by often because he's in Arizona and we were in New Jersey, but we did a lot of like phone meetings, and I went I he came out. We had a big FAO Schwartz uh, reveal of the new McFarlane Toys line, or Todd Toys line, back then in New York City, and I met him there in person for the first time. He's a character.
Yes, yeah, because I meet with the show other people that work with him, like for example, a sculptor that is called is his name is Alex Anki. They work for NECA, and he started basically with McFarlane,
Mhm.
and he told me the same thing. That is quite a character. So
Yeah,
because I still working to have him also in my show, so I try to understand
yeah.
more and more about it. But back to the Four Horsemen studio work, because obviously you work in many stuff that they did, like Master of the Universe, etc. What is your favorite, beside Mythic Legions, line that you work with the studio?
They did a lot of the DC figures. The so I liked those. I liked the the comic book stuff is what I like. So all the Batman, the Superman, that kind of stuff. That was fun. So yeah, in general, there's so much work that I've done. It's hard to keep track and remember everything. But yeah, a lot of it would be the DC Comics characters. Those are fun because they're all weird and goofy and stuff. I did a few Batman. The Total Justice, the Total Justice cartoon. I did a bunch of figures for that. I think it was canceled though before they came out. So I did a Batman for that, like a Superboy, and just a bunch of those characters. Mr. Freeze, Batman and Mr. Freeze from that line were cool.
You work also in the theater, I know.
In
theater,
like film.
Yes, I saw Phantom of the Opera, Jersey
Boys.
Oh,
yeah, that's more of the BB prop stuff. A lot of the props I've sculpted stuff for them, or molding cast things, or digitally scanned. There's one thing. There's a big like a 16-foot angel sculpture that on the stage the actor climbs up behind and he stands on top of it and he sings from there. So what we're doing with the advent of digital stuff is this is the traveling show. The show travels all over the world. So we scanned that whole big angel. It's like there's like an angel, and then there's all these demons down on the bottom. It's like this big statue. And so we scanned that, and we had a digital copy of it. And what they did was they had that carved on a milling machine in pieces. So now they could just, if they have a show in Japan, they can just send the file to that production company and make it there instead of trying to ship this massive 20-foot box across the sea. They could just make it there. So, or also if it breaks, we now have a digital file that they can make the new parts for it. So it's stuff like that. There's a lot of scanning and sculpting and for that. Yeah.
Now he knows that you are really busy to work with the studio, but do you still have the time to drawing sometimes?
Oh, I wish. I keep wanting to, but it's disheartening. It's like I want to, but like I could draw something, or I could finish this project that I'm working on. It's for the shop. So it's good to be busy. I'm not complaining about being busy with work, that's for sure. But
also because if you are busy because your job with your art is good things, this one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because is a lucky man is a man that work with his passion.
Mm-hmm. It's nice to have a job that I'm interested in. What I do for a living, whether it's sculpting or painting or making props, it's all of that creative sculpting kind of arena and creating stuff. So it's sitting in an office in a cubicle behind a computer crunching numbers or whatever. I couldn't. I don't know what I would do if I did that.
Looks like a prize on like that to do another job that is not related with art.
Yeah, that would be soul destroying.
Exactly. No. I think it's the better things is wake up every day and do something that you love. Is the sauce to be happy every day. This stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Speaking of sculpting, do you prefer the digital sculpting or the physical sculpting?
I don't ever want to go back to physical sculpting. The digital, it sounds weird, but I mean, I like the physical sculpting, and it's fine. I got no problem with that. But the digital sculpting is so freeing. You can do what we would normally need to do when we would do it in actual clay. There's stuff that you couldn't mold, stuff that you can now. We can just sculpt a weird shape and print it, and then a mold something would be impossible to mold. You could just do anything with digital. There's nothing blocking you from achieving what you want in digital. So
I understand that because it's the same for the music, for example. for my, because I publish only one song in Italy, but I produce by myself an album,
Hmm.
and so I work digitally to do the orchestration for the for every song, and with some program digitally you can use the keyboard and play different instruments with different
Uh-huh.
sounds. So you can play drum with the keyboards, for
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
and you can do the line for every instrument. So basically, you can create the song with everything digitally, and then you can go to the studio and replace with the real drum
Yeah.
the a loop that you did with the digitally. But also the same thing to writing, because the word use the computer to write.
Mhm.
It's easier use the computer to write a novel
Oh
than
yeah.
use the pen. Also because my calligraphy, I think, is really bad.
Yeah.
If I write something with the pen, the day later I don't understand what I
You don't know
did.
what you wrote. You can't read your own writing.
Exactly. And also the typewriter is not is you can cancel delete
A lot of,
something.
a lot of white out your white out lines and
Yes. So
yeah.
because of that, I'm really fast as a writer when I had the time to write it, because now when YouTube become like a job to me, I have less time to do new novel. However, I publish 5 novel, but I have other in my desk, other 32 novel ready to go if you
Oh.
want. It's still working for another one. So if I have the time every day to write, is not a bad thing, because I have a lot of story ready,
Hmm.
and also because of my channels, I am able to pay my food and my action figure too.
Yeah.
So, and I like also do this channel, because this channel actually is also a service to the collector, because I do
Yeah.
toy news for every line, every company. So every people that work, they like something on the channel can find fresh news for everything. But
Yeah.
it's a strong work, because like it's like to be the CNN of the toys, no?
Yeah. Yeah. You got to get
So
that news out first before everybody else does.
exactly. So it's not easy, especially when many company comes up with something maybe in the same day. So
Yeah.
they say, "Oh no! Also this one today that there is
Yeah.
the Hasbro event to
That's
cover."
another case of technology being better, where you can put a video out, or if you have a website, your information. Where back in the day it was magazines, and you month to month a magazine comes out. But today, by the time a magazine comes out, it's 2 months old news, and everybody's moved on. So what's the
Also,
point
for
of a
example,
magazine?
for something like that, do a show
Yeah,
by home. No, it's really cool. That
yeah,
also YouTube. I when I had a dinner, I watch YouTube. I don't watch TV.
yeah. I do a lot too. I'll be home sculpting, and I'll have a lot of YouTube channels that I watch. Not all like toy related stuff, but it's all entertainment stuff.
Obviously, I think that in the top of your list there is Mr. Allen in the World of
Yes,
Toys
after
channel.
Mr. Allen, it's other stuff.
No, after Mr. Allen is Wrestling channel with Aramagnetti, my other channel.
That one. That's right. And then it's other stuff.
There is the church, because right here are 4 a.m., my friend.
The church all night.
All night, yes.
That must be like you're awake, so it doesn't bother you. But what about other residents in the area that get woken up every
The
hour on the
problem is
hour?
when sound, when I sleep in general. Tomorrow is a Sunday. Actually, it's Sunday night now. It's Sunday morning. And at 10, close 10 a.m., start to destroy your hair, because it's really impossible. I don't know why. Also, at 7:30 in the morning and the afternoon, start to play this ding dong
7:30.
7:30, and I don't know why. Maybe the priest is a little bit crazy. I don't know.
Well,
Because we try to talk to ask to stop this stuff, also because if you live close to the church, is not really nice.
yeah, those
Have the
bells are
sound.
loud.
Also for my dog, because can destroy his
Yeah.
no is here no for that.
Sneak up and
So,
cut the rope.
but it's really big rope.
Just get a
You
big
need to you need to have a big scissors to do that.
scissors.
However, maybe now it's time for the last question. But my last question is the typical question that I did with my guest, because I have a typical question in the beginning, how you discover your time, and the last one is generally is this: if you want to pick just one word to describe yourself, which word do you pick?
No. What word would I pick to describe myself? Yeah, start the music. I determined. I don't know. It's some.
Guys, Bill Mancuso is in trouble now.
I am. That's the one question I can't answer is I don't know what I am. um, I don't know. Tired. Maybe it's tired is the best word to describe me now.
Because you
Agreed.
work too much or because it's too late?
No, because you sleep at night, but I don't sleep because I'm generally working all day at the shop, and then I come home and I'm sculpting all night. So I'll usually go to bed at like 5 in the morning and then get up at 8:30 or 9.
So you sleep 3 hours every day.
It's like, I try to get 5 in. So I try to. It'll be about 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'll say, okay, I have to go to bed right after I finish this one more thing, and that goes on for 2 or 3 more hours. So
Actually, we are similar because I go to sleep at 7 a.m. You go to sleep 5 a.m. So we are close for that.
Yeah.
But you wake up earlier, my friend.
Only because I have to.
Yes, no, because of my stuff, because sometimes I work for this channel also 14 hours non-stop just to have a dinner in the middle.
Yeah.
So because of that, I need to stay really focused to do that. So I need to sleep. I try to sleep 8 hours is possible, if it's possible, because also because when I don't sleep, if I don't sleep so much, I become not really nice. I can become
A little cranky.
exactly. So maybe it's better. And don't try to call me when I sleep because I can become dangerous because I need to sleep. Yes,
Yeah.
because you don't try to call a vampire when he slept in the
You better
day.
have a steak ready if you do.
Exactly. And sometimes when I go really crazy because when I have close to 20 videos to upload, sometimes I still to work in at 7 a.m. and go to sleep at 9 a.m. and I wake up with the sunset. Really, sometimes happens something like that. Because I'm a guy that also when I finish to do for this channel, I start to work in other stuff,
Mhm.
writing on my stop motion project. Sometimes that also because the problem is that when it arrives the end of my day, still something that I need to do by having the time. No, I need more hours.
I
So
know. Yeah. I
you know that.
get it.
So it's time to go to the piano. You find your allegiance when you got affection. You find emotion in a magic world. Thank you, Bill Mancuso, to be in my show. and the unknown appears. So dangerous, this guy, and will be, I think, will be one of the fan favorite. Also because this convention exclusive become really popular. Also because I think that you got the skull ad, the alternative ad,
Yeah. The,
only in the
this is
convention. That's right.
this is the main head with the his main head and the horns. That's the main character. And then I threw in for just the extras because I know this is a customizing line, so I gave him a few extra things. You've got the bat wings. Oops, the bat wings to switch out, and where's the camera? The skull.
It's
Which
really cool, the skull with this paint job.
can't really see. Yeah, it's like a red oxide with black on it. So
And this one is only in the convention version.
yeah, this will only be the convention exclusive. He's over there now.
Imagine if it's time now it's time to roll on your floor.
That's right. He's trying to escape from me.
Exactly.
He's got souls to get, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe try to take your soul.
I hope not.
Your creature try to take over yourself.
Like Frankenstein.
Exactly. So thank you so much to be my show, Bill. I'm very happy to. Maybe in the future, if you want to come back for some occasion, you're welcome.
Sure. Thank you. That was fun.
And don't forget to sing every day the Mythic Legion song.
I like the line about even a skeleton. That line just cracked me up.
Even a skeleton.
Even a skeleton.
was a lot of fun, dude. Because the song comes to me in about 1 minute, 2 minutes, but comes to me when I work in other stuff. When I start to editing some video, start this melody, na 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 na, especially the part that says ta na 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 na, this part there. But was just a line in my music line. But this stuff continues in my mind day after day. I saw, oh, this is a song. I need to do something. And because of Mythic Legion, I can do something about Mythic Legions with a song. And the first time that I do song for that, because in general, my song that I did many years ago, I wrote, I believe, hundreds of songs. And many of these songs go to the trash, the digital trash of my computer. But actually, maybe I saved just 100 song. I did 100 song, but I published just one. However, it's the first time that they did a song. They do a song for a action figure line, and then because I'm a close friend with Shartimus Prime, it was 3 times in my show. I asked him to play the drum for the song.
Oh yeah.
And because he loved Mythic Legions, and also we play music together live in one of the show. He accepted immediately, and then he played the line for the drum. It was really fast that do the song, create the song with the orchestration was really 1 day of the works. Really, because it was to me was in some years ago when he was only a musician. I was like a guy that plays song, creates song 10 hours day by day. So if you work so much for it something, also if you stop to do that for many years, when you do that again, it's really easy like that. Like write a story, the same thing, because you do that many, many times. So it's something in your blood.
Yeah.
So because of that, it was easy to create the song. The only things that was take me more time is shooting the video direct, because I'm a director of the video, because I haven't the time to do that. Also because in the beginning, the plan is to shooting something with the snow. But the problem that last winter was the only winter that had the snow only 1 day. And the day I thought, no, today I haven't the time. I don't want to do that. Maybe another day. It was the only one with
more days of snow. That's
so I waiting until April, and then I decide to do the video in another way. No,
yeah.
This is the story, long short story of the video of the song.
Mother Nature is not cooperating.
Exactly. So thank you so much again, and have a nice weekend.
You too.
busy to me because for example, after this interview, I have other 4 video to do if I able to do that. Tomorrow, maybe other video. Tomorrow, a live stream on my wrestling channel. It's a big channel, my channel of wrestling. 50,000, over 50,000 of subscriber,
Yeah.
close to 19 millions of views. So it's big.
Wrestling is
But
very popular. So yeah, hopefully,
yes,
hopefully Mythic Legions gets as popular as wrestling.
I hope, because I love Mythic Legions and this line deserve it.
Yeah, it does.
So see you soon, and
Yeah.
good luck for the next project, my
You're gonna
friend.
come out for a con, for a Legions con?
It should be a dream come true. I have only 2 problems for that, maybe 3. One, I need to. I don't remember the good words in English, but I know to get a new version of my passport. First one.
Oh, renew it. Yeah.
Second one, I need to have the money because I spend a lot of money on the figures. Now I need to, because I purchased the Lithia from a retailer, German retailer, Space Figure, and so I need to have the money to pay that, to save money for that. And then there is another thing, so I need to find the money, give a new version of the passport, and third, I need to, because I'm not afraid of nothing in general. But there is only few things that I don't like in general. One is the spider. The second one is fly. I don't like fly. I went on fly on the plane only one time when I went to London. And by the way, I love London.
Yeah.
But it was like a nightmare to me because I don't like know that I'm on this in the sky with a big with nothing under me. I need to have my feet on the earth, not fly.
What about
So
what about boat?
too long. But I discovered that the plane also because I got a charter, a small plane to
Oh,
go
yes.
to. Yes, it was a Ryanair plane from Italy to, and some my cousin actually told me that to go to US, you got bigger plane, really big, and you don't feel that you are on the plane.
Yeah.
So maybe I can pass through that, but however, I need to get a new version of my password. And so I especially need to find the money to do that because you need to figure out how to do the the hotel, the stuff. Also because if will happen, will be my first time in the US. No,
Yeah.
so I need to be in
Perfect
US.
excuse then.
I need to be 1 week, maybe. No, the days for the convention, GCon, etc. But also maybe one day to go to New York.
Yeah. And we're close by,
Especially,
so yeah.
shout out to Anonymous Dude. Thank you to enjoy the show, my friend. Also because another my dream is go to New York and go and watch some of the location of the Ghostbuster movie
Okay, yeah.
because I'm a Ghostbuster fan too.
Yeah.
And so because of maybe watch the firehouse
Uh-huh.
is neat to me, important to see.
Yeah, that's fun
So
stuff.
so let's see if I found the money, maybe if I found the money because the first things without the money is impossible.
Yeah.
And because I spend too much with figures, I need to find the money first. Got a new passport, and then maybe got a big bottle of Valium to survive the fear to fly. Whoever, thank you so much again, and see you soon.
Thanks for
And
having me.
it's really cool meet other artists, no? Because
Yeah.
if you're an artist, you understand there is a chemistry between the artists.
Oh yeah. At the very least, sleeping. None of us sleep, so
Exactly.
we have that in common.
So thank you so much, and see you soon, my friends. Bye
Have a good
bye.
one.
And thank you so much to all of you guys. And don't forget, every day on this channel, fresh news, rumors, and more guests in the next episode of the show. Thanks for watching, my friends, and so long, everybody.